Greetings, friends. Greetings, world. Welcome to the Leo full moon 2025. This full moon is happening on February the 12th, and it is conjunct Mercury, which is causing me to very deliberately and on purpose speak slowly, more slowly than usual. I've done 8 takes of this already. This is a very mercurial moment in time. So if your brain is running away with you, like mine is, come back to your heart. Let's just come back to our hearts right now together so I can do this forecast. And if you're watching it, so you can take it in. So the Taoists, like many traditional systems, medicine systems, has herbs, yes, herbs, but sounds for particular parts of the body to bring balance to those parts of the body. The sound for the heart is ah or ha. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna sit up straight, feet flat on the floor, feel the bottom of your feet, relax the bottom of your feet. If you're driving, keep your attention focused on the road. But if you're not, relax your eyes, have a soft gaze, feel your heart. Take a deep breath, and you're going to make the sound of either ah or ha with me. Whichever one you want, whichever one feels more natural. So here we go. I went sort of in and out of a breath sound and a vocal sound. There are different layers of sound that you can make, and starting with the vocal and then with the breath and then with silent, and you can also do variations in between them to get deeper and deeper and deeper into your heart. So that's a very simple meditation that you can work with whenever your mind is spinning. But let's hope that it worked for now, for our purposes, with just one breath. Okay, so we had a Mercury Cazimi. We're going to talk about a lot of other things on this podcast because Mercury. Because all that is coming through, there's so much coming through right now. I know I said that last time. It's kind of always true, but right now this particular Mercury cycle is coming through very strong for me. So that's why we're beginning with it, but it's not all that we're going to talk about. We're also going to talk about paradox. We're going to say a lot about paradox, and we are going to talk again about the honeycomb that we mentioned in the last video, which I will link in the show notes because it really partners with this one. We're going to be with this configuration for a while, and I set it up at the last dark moon, so I will link that. Let's draw this Mercury with the sun and the moon. That is our starting place for this conversation. Okay, so I'm gonna let you all see my shadow box star maps, because these are what I draw for you when I do readings. This is the one we're gonna work on today. In lieu of what I usually do, you can download these for free. We'll bring in the one from last dark moon a little bit. But yeah, this is what we're going to work with, but I just wanted to have a little pile of them, go through it. These are bi-wheels, so you and your lover, you and your kid, you and your best friend. Mermaids and pirates. Yes, I have a thing for the ocean. The classic. Okay. So, we centered? Yes. Leo full moon, conjunct Mercury. Goodness gracious. Galileo G. That's what my dad used to say. So, this is an Aquarius sun. So yeah, that's even more to the point. This air sign, which has had a lot of attention because we're in Aquarius season and Pluto is there. Pluto's right here. Let's just draw Pluto so Pluto doesn't get possessive and pouty about being left out. 2 degrees. I almost said 2%. 2% of Pluto's power is very much enough. Thank you very much. Alrighty. Sun is at 24 degrees. And Mercury was in the heart of the sun on February the 9th, but this is February the 12th. And we see Mercury right here at 26 degrees. Across the way, in the sign of Leo, the sign of the sun, so the sun is in his detriment. We have the moon. Moon in the sign of the sun, reflecting the sun's light. This is a potent moon. This is a heart-centered moon in tension with a mind-centered sun. Being in Aquarius, the distance, the coldness. I mean, those are some of the aspects that can come through the Aquarian archetype is distant and cold, disconnected, because it is an air sign and it's the furthest away from the sun's home, and it's doing a different thing. It's not bad, it's not negative. It's just doing a different thing, and it's doing an important thing. And right now, Mercury is helping the sun do what it does while in Aquarius. So our attention is here most of the month, but during the few days around the full moon, and especially at its culmination, our attention is brought deep back into this, its opposite, which is our heart. So it is so important at this time to pull everything that you've been learning, thinking about, contemplating all the ideas, let them spiral back down deep into your body and deep into your heart, and really engage your discernment so that you can know, that you know, that you know what is true and what is false. Okay, so in this time of paradox, which a full moon always is, the tension between opposites. Earth is in the middle, moon is on one side, sun is on the other side. The tides are high. The tides of the oceans are high. The tides of emotions are high. We are made almost entirely of water. So at the full moon, the sun and the moon pulling in dynamic, opposing tension, pulling us, pulling our water, rising it to the surface. That is always happening. And now this particularly interesting full moon of paradoxes with this Mercury involved. Mercury with the sun in the sign of high ideas, and the moon, the sign, the body of emotion, in the sign of the heart, the sign of the sun, pulling those ideas into the heart. This is so important, so beautiful. And I am going to take advantage of this moment and talk about unity inside the context of astrology. And I would like to offer that you apply this to anything and everything. Because what paradox is are seeming opposites, seeming contradictions. One cannot be true if the other is also true, yet somehow they are both true. That's a paradox. Okay. So I'm only going to say a tiny bit about Chinese astrology to start because I know almost nothing, and I'm not going to pretend that I do, even though I consider myself a Taoist. I have not yet learned about Chinese astrology. I'm just embarking upon it with curiosity and not my brain, just talking to people. And this year, as you may know, it actually coincided with the last moon with the last new moon. So the last moment in these films, and in our awareness, in our primary awareness of the moon cycles, there's a different phase of the moon cycle every single day, really every single moment. The moon constantly changes. That's why the moon is associated with our emotions, because our emotions change literally minute to minute. So do the phases of the moon. Anyhow, the Chinese New Year coincided with the last dark moon, and we transitioned from the year of the dragon to the year of the snake. This is the wood snake. The snake is a yin creature. This is the year of the yin snake. Now, if you look at Western astrology, it's yang to the max. And it's like, oh, that's a seeming contradiction. So astrology must be bogus, right? Because the Chinese astrologers say, oh, it's a yin year. And the Western astrologers say, oh, it's a yang year. And we are going to bring Jyotish into this as well, for just an extra fascinating layer. But here's the thing about yin and yang. Here's the really beautiful thing about yin and yang. I was just in Asheville and I got to have this amazing, beautiful conversation with my teacher, Jem. And we were talking about yin and yang and how different cultures look at yin and yang, or the masculine and the feminine, and see it in different ways. And how can I reconcile that? And this is a very deep conversation, and it's not what the entirety of this film is going to be about. But what I want to bring forth from that is one of the things that she said is that yin and yang are always together. So in the body, in an animal body, when yin and yang separate, you die. So yin, the body, goes to the earth, and yang, which is the spirit, moves on. So if you were a doctor of Chinese medicine and your patient, you see yin and yang separating, then that's when you have really problematic pathology. That's pathology. That's a level of pathology, which Chinese medicine is going to wait a lot longer to diagnose pathology than Western medicine. So yin and yang are always together. So if you and when we really tune into the Chinese astrology of this year, what it is offering us is a medicine for these times, for these intensely yang times, because yin and yang always have to be together, or we have major, major problems. Now, we are in a seeming situation, and have been for a very long time. It ebbs and it flows, and maybe we're at the crest of the wave of one of those flows. But for a very long time, yang on this planet has been dominant, and that does not lead to life and health. Neither would yin dominance. The two must be together. The two must be in balance. So, okay, so this looks like paradox, but they both have to exist in harmony with each other to have life. I am going to read a verse from the Tao. I'm also going to read a verse I'm going to read a quote from the Ra contact, but from back in the 80s. So we're going to talk aliens here for just a little minute. Got to be culturally relevant, y'all. So in Jyotish, the Indians use a different zodiac than the Westerners use. And in the West, we use the tropical zodiac, which is tied to the Earth. And it is created through a system of sacred geometry. And it's linked to the seasons. It's corresponded to the first day of spring, which changes and moves because of the wobble of the Earth. I'm not going to go too technical on it. The Jyotish sidereal, it's called the sidereal zodiac. This zodiac corresponds to the actual stars. So it's not linked to the Earth, it's linked to the stars. That doesn't mean one is better than the other. It doesn't mean one is right and one is wrong. It means they do different things. I think I'm gonna, am I gonna do that? I think what I'm gonna do is draw what's happening in the sidereal zodiac and compare it with the honeycomb configuration and compare it to the drawing that I did 2 weeks ago of what it looks like in the tropical zodiac. So let me just say a few words before we get out that drawing, which is the honeycomb, which I drew last week. This is really firing up right now. This is going to be with us for a very, very, very long time. So what we have is 3 outer planets. These are slow movers moving into new signs around the same time. For how slow they move, it's like exactly the same time, even though it's happening months apart. These are major tone shifts that we hear and we feel, and like a gong, like incidentally, at the same time as we are having some really wild and woolly carnivalistic shifts of the fast moving planets. So this is going to look like, now March and April are our high point that we're like right now is building up to. This is going to look like so much rock and roll in our individual lives and in the collective at the same time. So let's see what the other zodiac has to say about it. Because in our zodiac, in the Western zodiac, these planets are moving from feminine signs into masculine signs. And this is loud, this is action-oriented, this is instigative, this is up and out, this is growth, this is observable, this is manifestation. That's what it is in our culture from our point of view. Okay, so this was the Aquarius, dark moon from, well, I don't have a date, 2 weeks ago. So what we had talked about is this honeycomb, I'm calling it a honeycomb, this hexagon shape that is being formed. It was at the same time as the dark moon, although it was 8 degrees apart from Pluto, that is being formed by these 3 outer planets, Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus, that these faster moving bodies as well as points in the chart have come alongside of and created an entire 6-sided shape. But these 3, Pluto just moved into Aquarius, so it moved out of Capricorn, feminine sign, into Aquarius, masculine sign. Earth into air. Neptune is about to move out of Pisces, feminine water, into Aries, masculine fire. And Uranus is about to move out of feminine earth. These 2 were trine, feminine earth, into Taurus, into Gemini, masculine air. So these signs are receptive, these signs are active, speaking archetypically as well as generically. That's just like the surface basic manifestation of these signs. So that's a whole lot of heavyweight action moving into these action-packed signs in the Western tropical zodiac. Now, in Jyotish, so here's our moon, our sun, moon, Mercury situation that's happening. And then we're going to draw the honeycomb. We're just going to draw the 3 outer planets in the This is the Fagan-Allen sidereal zodiac. There are many sidereal zodiacs, which is interesting and noteworthy, because the sidereal zodiac is based on the fixed stars, which, though they don't move, they are very hard to pin down because it's all nature. It's just all nature. So currently, this is a 0 Aries chart. So we'll start there. Because it's also the most active point that we're working with. Oh, that pen is not going to be my friend right now. Okay, there we go. 8 points instead of 5. Sure. Aries. So in Aries, currently, this is fascinating. This is about 26 degrees backwards in the zodiac. So we have Uranus at, that's me speaking from memory, not me speaking from the calculations that I'm about to observe right now with you all. I am not very familiar at all with Jyotish, so this is just a little flirtation. This is not me talking about things I don't know. All right, 28 degrees of Aries, and we'll move into Taurus. Feminine Earth Taurus later this year. So Uranus isn't even there yet. Then here we have Pisces, feminine water, and Neptune, which, as you saw in our system, in our zodiac, Neptune's about to leave and go into Aries. Well, here Neptune is at 3 little bitty degrees of Pisces. And then Pluto, bless him, is all the way back here in feminine Earth, Capricorn. We thought we were through it. We thought our Capricorn placements had done their time. Well, think again, my friends. I'm sorry to say, but here's Pluto at 7 degrees of Capricorn. Oh my goodness! Look at that. Look at that. Feminine energy. Just spectacular. So if you're listening to the podcast, sorry about it. This is made to be visual, and I highly recommend at some point if you want to understand more clearly the astrology, the technical aspects of the astrology that I'm talking about, you're just going to need to go watch it on YouTube. I am working on, and I will get better at, expressing with my words the technical for those that are listening to the podcast, but it's juggling a lot to be drawing and talking about the technical aspects at the same time. So I'm practicing, I'm learning as I go. So that's just what it is. Okay. Now that we've said that, it's like, well then, I'm a Pisces and I have a lot of placements in Pisces, and I can just see every single point of view, and I see it all merging together at all times. And when I think about stuff like this, it'll start to all merge inside of myself. And then I'm like, what's the point? I'm just going to go swim in the ocean, Why think about stuff? I just want to be in my body. I'm going to go live just a purely sensual life and just go ahead and nix Mercury from my questing. And the answer is that we are here in this land of duality as emissaries for the Creator to know itself. We are here to think, we're here to ponder, we're here to experience, we are here to experience separation, which isn't really actually true, but obviously it is. We look around and the suffering and everything that is happening here on this planet is so clearly and always traced back to this idea. Once again, Mercury, it's all ideas today, all ideas all the time. This idea that we are separate, this idea that we are not one. But it's an idea that has been made manifest here. It's real here, even if it's not ultimately real, even if it's not eventually real, it's real here. So this is the paradox to hold. This is the paradox to hold. We can't just say everything's fine, we're all one, you're a crooked, lying thief and a pervert, but it's okay because we're one. It's not okay. And also, we can't just say, well, we're totally separate, so eat, drink, and be merry, and tomorrow we die, and because I'm going to kill you. Like, that's also not okay. What we must do in this situation, in this place, on this planet, is hold both. Know that the ultimate reality is that we all came from unity. We all came from the Creator, and that is where we will return. We will all return to Source. And here and now, we are separate. And in the depths of our communion with each other and with Creator and with the natural world, we can touch in to that unity. We can touch into the harmony inside of ourselves and with each other, with the planet. We balance out the separation. That's what Chinese medicine is always doing in cooperation with the body. The body is always seeking homeostasis. This is how we seek homeostasis, these experiences of oneness. This is where we find ecstatic bliss. This is where we find our medicine. This is where we find the strength to go on. This is where we find the steel inside of ourselves to survive and to thrive and to enjoy this ride. It's both. The outer planets are moving into masculine signs, and it is go time. And the world is a carnival, and all that that implies. And in another land, balancing out our understanding of the movements of the heavenly bodies is another people who are us. We are them. And they understand that these planets are in feminine signs. And that this is a time of receptivity and inwardness. And this is how we balance. This is how we unite with each other. There are so many directions I could go with it, and I'm just not going to right now. What I want to do is to offer this to you again as a thought experiment. When you encounter paradox, and especially when it's getting under your skin, how can this be true if this is also true? How can the Republicans be right when the Democrats are right? They're both right. They are both wrong. And they are the same. We are the same. We are the hero. We are the villain. We are the dark. We are the light. We are separate and we are one. This is the beauty of paradox. Let's finish drawing the honeycomb. So let's see what we have here. The moon is actually creating an interesting point on with the hexagon because it's a midpoint that could, if continued, create a even more complex 12-sided shape. Which, is that a dodecahedron? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so here are the points. Pluto, Neptune, 28 degrees. And we're going to add the north node at 27 degrees. And then and this is Pisces. And then we have Taurus with Uranus at 23 degrees and moving to this point to come into literally perfect harmony with these three bodies. So that's the thing. They're going to make 60 degrees, 60 degrees, and then 120 degrees. They're going to make a perfect formation of sextiles and a trine with each other, this little bitty triangle on this half of the zodiac, later in the year. And it's going to be with us for many years to come. And it's happening in masculine signs for us and in feminine signs in Jyotish. And then what we have currently is in Cancer. Now these are the planets breezing through. Is Mars. Mars looks like he's far back at 17 degrees, but he's retrograde. He's been at this point twice before, and he is about to be barreling back towards it. He's slowing down to station direct currently. Thank the gods. I almost said a curse word. Like I haven't said a curse word on here or two. There is the south node in Virgo at 27 degrees. And then up here we have this asteroid goddess, Juno, goddess of marriage, partnered love, 28 degrees in Scorpio. So the hexagon here, we're going to draw in red. Really, this is pink. It's just like Mars, you know. Mars likes to be called red because Mars is a warrior. But if you look at Mars from Earth without a telescope, Mars is definitely pink. All right, that's not a very good line. It's because of my pen, not my skill, people. It's not my skill. My skill is quite developed. Okay, as is my humility. Hexagon, little pink hexagon. Here we go. It's happening. It's happening. This is a very constructive shape. I said it on the last one. I'll say it again. It's like a nice combination of the challenging aspects of the squares, challenging energy of the squares, and the harmonious energy of the trines, because this is a shape you can build with. I'm calling it the honeycomb because it's what bees use. It's the shape bees use to build. Ultimate harmony, ultimate efficiency of space, and strength of structure. Now, we come over here to the Fagan-Bradley sidereal zodiac. We have, gosh, let's see if we can do this. This is not something I'm used to looking at. We have Scorpio, still in Scorpio, but the beginning here is, so see, with these two different zodiacs, it does not change the relationships of the planets. It doesn't change the aspects. It just changes their location in the zodiac. So the zodiac is our conceptualization. The aspects of the planets, the relationships between the planets, exist with or without us, with or without our conceptualization of them. So, interestingly enough, the nodes are still in Pisces and Virgo, but they are almost through it, because the nodes move retrograde through the zodiac. So they're about to leave. Okay, and then Mars here in Gemini. Wait, Gemini. 22 degrees. And then here, Uranus, Neptune, we will put the north node with Neptune at 2 degrees. And let's draw this honeycomb. So we're going to draw it with some green. For the green yen snake, the green wood yen snake. As you can see, the aspects between the planets stay the same with these two different systems, with these two different lenses. It's just a different lens. Some people like to see the world through rose-colored glasses, and that is a very good thing. And some people like to see the world with no glasses on at all. And cheers to them. Okay. You have to pretend, I beg of you to pretend that, a request of you to pretend that that hexagon is a little bit more visually, mathematically accurate than it currently is. But 2 hexagons, 2 different zodiacs. There it is. What I would like to say, what I would like to end with now is to speak about everything that I've spoken about today with a heads up for what is coming in March and April. So these big outer planet changes are happening this year, and they're being heralded, they're being springboarded by these very dramatic inner planet changes and shifts that are happening now and in March and April. This is, I will just say briefly, this is a combination of eclipse time and very closely linked movements of both Mercury and Venus close to each other and retrograding over Neptune as Neptune moves into Aries, tying these inner planets, doing a lot of stuff with relationships into the outer planets, the movements of the outer planets, like just linking it like lock and key, along with the last eclipse of the Aries Libra cycle, which is 2 years of Aries Libra plus 2 years of Taurus Scorpio, together making 4 years of Mars Venus eclipses. Mars Venus change, shifts, dynamic shifts in relationships. We are approaching such a massive culmination of all that has been occurring. And this culmination is ushering us into the new, to the next thing. And it is so, I know you can all just taste it. Even if you've never even heard an astrologer before, and this is the first time you've ever heard an astrologer say anything in your life, doubtful, but even if, like, you do not have to know astrology. All you have to do is be a little teeny bit aware right now in the world to be like, wow, it's really starting to feel different around here. Because that is not going to slow down. It's changing fast. So hold on to your seats. Hold on to each other. Hold on to each other. We are all we have in this. And by that, I am including the entirety of the natural world. Holding hands with your spirit guides. Holding hands with the trees and the creatures and the microbes, the plants. Laying under the stars and gazing up at the sky, watching the clouds. Being in nature. Holding hands with the world. Hold on to each other. We are a planet hurtling, spinning, spiraling through space. We have to hold on. Remember to hold on. Hold on to each other. This is going to be a really, really hard time to be a loner. A really, really hard time to try and do this on your own. find your people, find the others, love, love, love. I love you all. Thank you for listening. And I will see you soon.